Welcome back, friends. Welcome back to Book Lover, a channel where we do book reviews. Today we are going to do a book review for this new book. The name of the book is Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. This book is written by Satoshi Yagisawa. The name of the book has a word called Morisaki. And what does Morisaki mean? Let us first understand that. Morisaki is a Japanese name meaning forest peninsula. And what is peninsula? Peninsula means a piece of land almost surrounded by water or projecting out into a body of water. This particular title has some bearing on the whole story. Let us first go further. There are in all 11 characters in this story. The main person in the story is Takako. Then there is Satoru, Momoko, and Hideako. These are the people who are very much there in the whole book. The story is like emotional change that drives the person to go for a different approach towards life. Takako is facing an emotional outburst, emotional stress because Hideako said something to her. What Hideako said to Takako is very brilliantly written. Let us now read it out for you. Page number 1, second para, says, one day Hideaki, the boyfriend I had been going out with for a year, suddenly blurted out, I am getting married. When I heard him, my mind was filled with questions. Now, here the writer writes it in a very brilliant way. You need to understand, this is where I liked the whole book. And once I started reading from here onwards, I said the book must be definitely worth reading. Because it had a way of saying things in a very philosophical manner. It goes further. When I first heard him, my mind was filled with questions. Now, if he had said, let's get married, I would have understood. Or if he had said, I want to get married, I still would have understood. But I am getting married. But I am getting married was just weird. Marriage, after all, is a covenant based on mutual agreement, or grammatically, the sentence was completely wrong. So you see, the writer has a knack for writing things in a very beautiful, very interesting, and very intrigue. He has the ability to create intrigue and humor at the same time. So that is what I liked about the writer in the first page. I am reading this book for the first. Takako expresses herself in a very beautiful way when she is talking to herself. In a melodrama, this would have been my moment to get up and throw my wine in his face. But I had never been good at expressing my feeling like that. So you see how the writer is trying to express the anger of the character. So this makes for good reading. Further, he has a very beautiful knack for creating humor in sadness. I will read out to you for the further lines. She is in pain and she is crying because Hideako has now said that he is going to get married and he is not going to get married to her. She is about to lose him. So you can understand the conflict of mind and the pain and all those things. How it is portrayed is beautiful. How the writer is trying to write it is beautiful. I will read it out to you. The dumb thought popped into my head that if only all these tears were oil, I would be rich. But it was so dumb that it made me cry more. So you see, the writer has the ability to keep you hooked on. Now this story is not completely kicked off. We can divide the book into two sections: the first half and the second half. Second half is goes on a serious note. The first half is full of like questions, answers, kind of humor, sort of black humor and all those things. The book also gives you an opportunity to know about the good authors of Japan. In the story in between, since the girl is working at the bookshop, you can learn about many famous Japanese authors in this novel. So if you are like reading Japanese book for the first time, for example, I am reading it for the first time, I will definitely go and search about all those authors and I will try to read any books translated by them in English. The story is based in a bookshop, so it is also a view of how things around you can help you to get out of pain. The person in this book, Takako, which is she is now undergoing some emotional stress, and how her mother out of love, calls her brother, that is Takako's uncle, and Takako's uncle is the character called Sotoro. He ends up calling Takako to come to his shop, which is the bookshop. And there she starts reading books. Initially, she is not interested in reading books, and how reading books changes her life is shown in this book, in this story. To put my sentences to some kind of weight, I will read out page number 33, where it says, "Then I reached out my hand and pulled out the first book that I touched. It was titled Until Death of the Girl. The author was Saisha Muro. I heard his name before in my modern lit class back in high school, but that was all I knew. My hope was that the book would bring enough boring that I would fall asleep." We wanted to fall asleep by reading a book, by getting bored, but that did not happen. On the contrary, she ended up learning things about life. So I always carry one book in my bag. So I always feel that book is one of your best friends. Learning book is like living one more life. You can read the character. You can choose what character you want to explore more. You end up enjoying that time when you read that book. Initially, when Takako meets her uncle, she is not very much confident of her uncle being a nice person. Then later on, she finds out how uncle was kind of a good guardian to her. So this book also explores those events in our lives where we make assumptions about people, draw conclusions very fast without giving them benefit of doubt. Tells you that people are different. You need some time to understand people. Then the real person comes out. It is in the time of conflict you can always find the real nature of the person. So when out of pain, I would not tell you the story. Takako confides or tells her uncle her story. And then how does her uncle react? That changes her perception about him. From good to bad, from bad to good, things keep on changing in life. So this is one good story of understanding how our emotion travels across various time zones of our life. The writer has the ability to make you see the story on your own. Sometimes you have to imagine what the writer is telling, but in this book, he will make you see the story with his own words. With the words where he uses the things like, there's one place where he says like, I will read the whole paragraph for you to understand. As I reached the savior, my feet stopped on my own. Seeing the orange light of its sign shining in the lonely street at night, it was like Pavlov's dog. Pavlov's dog, if you Google and search Pavlov's dog, you will understand what I am telling. It was about an experiment where dogs were given food at a particular time with the ring of a bell. So how does the dog react each time to it? Then it becomes very natural for the dog to just hear the ring and just run and go near the food plate. So he has used many things of expressions to make you see the story, and that is art. Books also tell you about the culture of the place. For example, there is one story and para here which sounds more like India. Say in India also we have this proverb, the way to man's heart is through his stomach. The same thing is written here in Japanese culture also. I'll read it out to you. Men are simple. It doesn't matter who they are. You can always seduce them with food. She laughed and said, I will teach you. You must try to remember. So it is same as the what it is said in India. The way to man's heart is through his stomach. So you see, same vibrations, same frequencies, same thought processes. Basically, we are humans, so it vibrates. It runs around across all regions, all countries, all nations, all people. The story in the second part takes a turn where Momoko, who is Sotoro's wife, comes back after she had gone without saying anything. Why she has come back and what happens to her, the bonding which is created between the girl Tokako and Momoko, why it deepens further, why it gets more beautiful. Is there anything that is going on with her life? What is the reason she left? All those things are answered in this book in a beautiful manner, and it makes for a good story, good suspense, and it also adds emotional touch. So if you see the whole book from start to end, it's an emotional book, story of a girl who is trying to gather her life after someone betrayed her, and how she then sees a different person whom she initially thinks her uncle is not nice. Then she sees the real meaning of love which her uncle has for his wife, and then she compares her thought, her life, then how she, what happens further to uncle's wife, which she, then what emotional stress, what other things happen to her, are all written in the story in a fashion that makes you for curious to finish the book. So if anything, any book is making you curious to finish the book, it means the book has substance. This book is one time read, you can read it once. I'm going to do the part 2 review also. In totality, the whole book is small, compact. It gives you a feeling of achievement of having completed a book. Sometimes if the book is not very interesting, it is like, why did I take this book? So, but this is not the case. It is close to 141 pages, goes very fast, makes you feel nice, has all the emotions which human beings face in their lives, makes for wonderful reading. That is all. I finished the book review here. See you again. Bye bye.